We are recording now. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wellness Wednesdays. Wake up at 9 a.m. We're going to
Good
go
morning.
to live on Facebook now. So I'm pressing the buttons to get us over there. And we're grateful to come together today on Wednesday, May 6th. And we are the Oasis Palisades Retreat Collective. And I do a little extra repetitive intro here because of the delay for us to get our recording onto Facebook Live and have everyone catch up with us.
I'm not sure if it's on the Facebook Live yet, but it is
yes,
recording.
It's coming. It's
oh,
spinning.
wonderful.
I have the this all open now. And I'm pressing the next button to go live now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wake Up Wellness Wednesdays.
Yes,
Yay,
welcome, everyone. So we wanted to do these Oasis Palisades Retreat Collective Wednesday Wellness Wake-Ups to give our favorite tools that we're using to support our wellness and our real everyday lives. And so we all come together usually in person at the wonderful Oasis Palisades Spa that Stephanie, who is with us today, is the co-owner of in Pacific Palisades, California. But due to this current shutdown, what we could do is come to everyone with these videos so that we can help you guys support your own wellness and do self-care treatments and give you some self-care education on how to support your wellness. So my favorite question for all of us to ask ourselves is, are we living in a way that supports our wellness? What can that look like for us? And so as the Oasis Palisades Retreat Collective, all of us come together to offer tools and solutions and experiences of how we can actually live in a way that supports our wellness long term. And so I'm so grateful to have you guys here today. And Stephanie Kanan is the co-owner of Oasis Palisades, a wellness center in Pacific Palisades. And Dr. Tiari White is my wonderful colleague, also a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine like me. And then our other Retreat Collective member, Terry Allen, will join us soon to discuss her wonderful tools of mindfulness and meditation for families. And I want to introduce right now the wonderful Dr. Tiari White, who is going to give us some wonderful, empowering education about how we can, in our real daily life, support our immunity. And then Stephanie will talk to us about how to, since we can't see, wonderful Stephanie is also an incredible massage therapist for many years at Oasis Palisades. And so since we can't go see her for a treatment right now, she's going to help us with acupressure of how we can give ourselves our own massage treatment that Tiari will explain us some of the immune benefits of that too. And then I can help us with some yoga practice. Even just 5 minutes of yoga can do so much to open up our bodies and invigorate us and turn us on into a well state of being. And then Terry is going to lead us through a wonderful meditation. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wellness Wake Up Wednesdays with the Oasis Palisades Retreat Collective. And Tiari, please, Dr. Tiari, tell us, what can we do to support our wellness in the immunity department? Share your toolbox.
Okay. Thank you so much, Renee. Appreciate it. I'm really loving these Wednesday mornings with our collective. It's a wonderful thing. So thank you so much for being the foundation for coordinating all of this. All right. Well, today I just wanted to talk about something that's really been coming up for me in my conversations with different patients, family members, friends, as people, sort through all of the news about, waiting for a vaccine, taking measures to sort of keep the virus away from you, and all of this. All these things have certain merits in their own right, and it's important to evaluate those as you go along. But one of the things that we really can't forget, and it has not been a part of the national conversation, is that you have an immune system. I'm going to just keep harping on this, but you have an innate immune system that is designed to respond to the environment, and it's actually built through response to the environment. So you would not have an immune system if you weren't getting exposed to things in your environment. And actually, if you put yourself in too much of a bubble, certain markers of immune health begin to drop because you're lowering the challenge to your system. So unfortunately, it's just basic science, but it's become sort of a controversial thing to even talk about, the fact that we have an innate system that's designed to allow us to thrive. And the reason that we're here is because we have thousands of years of our ancestors that have successfully built immune systems that have been literally passed down to us genetically through not only our genes, but also through the bacteria that we receive when we're born through our mother, and through the bacterial populations and viral populations that exist within our homes. And those populations reflect the way that our ancestors have lived over time. So, and the plants that are in our environment, the animals that are in our environment, our immune systems are built from exposure to that, and our health is actually dependent on exposure to that. So this whole conversation of taking a kind of a sniper approach to staying healthy, as opposed to realizing that you're in an interconnected web that's actually working for your benefit, it's definitely the sniper approach and the isolation approach as a general life principle is not the best approach for thriving. It may be a good short-term approach to deal with an acute situation, but over time, we need to be thinking about exposing ourselves to what's naturally in our environment and developing our immunity to that. Along those lines, one of the aspects of immunity that we really have not been discussing much on a national level is where do these white blood cells that that we need to fight off all sorts of infections and exposures, where are those created? Our body is creating these white and red blood cells from our bones, from our bone marrow. And so the question is, how do we go back even further into the root aspects of our physiology to see how we can support more of that? How do we boost our bone marrow production? This is the reason, by the way, why people who are receiving certain cancer therapies can have a much harder time fighting off viruses, because their bone marrow production may be compromised by either the cancer or some of the treatments that they're receiving. So at any rate, bone marrow health is super important. And how do you support bone production, bone marrow health? You need a lot of minerals and collagen, okay? And just a generally balanced diet, particularly what people are now calling ancestral food-based diets, can be very supportive of that. In general, you just need to get a lot of minerals into your system and a lot of materials that you can use to build collagen, or else there are tons of different collagen supplements out there you can also purchase. This is the reason why bone broths and possibly chicken soup and traditional foods like that are very supportive when people come down with viral infections. And that's because the protein in those soups and the natural collagens in those soups and the minerals that are being precipitated out of the bones in the way that you prepare them with all kinds of different aromatic herbs and garlic and things like that, all that helps to precipitate the minerals out, length of time that you cook it. And when we drink that, it actually goes deep and helps us to build and stimulate our immune system by supporting the production of those super important cells. A little bit different from what happens when we take an herb or a fruit like elderberry, or we take zinc. Those are things that are more about helping to deal with the virus once it's in our system, but it's not really oriented toward the production of the cells that are going to go out and do the fighting. So do you see what I mean? It's a different level. It's a different, more of a root level way of boosting your vitality to be able to handle any sort of immune challenge that you might come across. So one other thing I wanted to mention is I've been talking about white blood cells, but possibly equally important, or maybe even more important for people who get into critical situation with this new coronavirus that's out there. There is a lot of oxygen metabolism issues that seem to be coming up as a result of the cytokine storm. And it's important to remember that our red blood cells are the ones that carry iron and allow us to have the oxygen metabolism that we need in order to live. So very important to keep in mind that it's good to think about making sure that you're not anemic at this particular moment in time. It's another really good root cause way of supporting yourself with this particular virus in terms of the symptoms that people are talking about. There's been a lot of discussion that coronavirus looks a lot like a high altitude oxygen deprivation situation. So as anybody knows who's done any endurance training, you know, when you train at high altitudes, your body gets a lot more efficient at how it metabolizes oxygen. And what you really don't want to do is to go into a situation like this with an anemic blood count. So
yes, I want to mention too, Tiare, to support what you're saying, because with altitude training to go on a hike, like to hike something like Mount Everest, another thing that we recommend as herbalists is a high chlorophyll diet or a chlorophyll supplement, because chlorophyll will act as red blood cells in our body to carry more oxygen to us, which again supports our overall wellness, because we need this oxygen to do that chemical reaction of the Krebs cycle to make the energy that animates us and drives all of our function of all of our organs in our body. It's kind of fundamental. Just
absolutely.
a little bit, right? The oxygen metabolism. And I'm just going to step in one moment here because I want to bring Terry into our group, and then we'll have you continue, okay? So I'm popping Terry in. Good morning, Terry. Welcome, and thanks for joining us. She should be seeing, there we go, in the box right now. So excuse me.
Good morning, ladies. Sorry a bit late. But I was wondering why I couldn't get in. I was like, I'm on the wrong meeting.
Yes, also it has this feature of me promoting you to a panelist. And so Tiare was speaking on immunity and the importance of not being anemic, making sure that we have the proper lab testing, for example, to test our iron levels, our red blood cells. That complete blood count test we get with our physical every year can help us monitor that. So back to you, Dr. Tiare. So
yeah, so just a few foods that you can eat that are high in, there are two different forms of iron. There's iron you can get from animal products. There's also iron that you can get from they're called non-heme or non-blood-based iron that you can get from vegetables and different sorts of plant materials. So, oysters, liver, sardines, beef, these are sources of heme iron. So just go ahead, like I said to everyone, go out there and do your research and look up sources, animal-based and plant-based sources of iron. Some good plant-based sources of iron, which everyone should love, is dark chocolate, also lentils, tofu, white beans. Some of these legumes, they really can nitrogen fix, that can really draw up these heavier minerals like iron. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, which is significant for anemia, to make sure that your oxygen metabolism is good there, is B12, folic acid, B9. All of these B vitamins are really important for this system, and get yourself a good B12 supplement if you can, or a good overall B supplement. Seafood can be a good source of B. If you're eating processed foods, you know, there's B that is often added to a lot of processed grain foods, but that's obviously not the best way to go. So you really want to try to get just supplement with a little bit of B12. Might be a good idea to check and see if you have any MTHFR markers in your system, because those could be interfering with your vitamin B, the efficiency of how you metabolize or uptake vitamin Bs. So you may want to look for what's called a methylated B. That's something, you know, that you can go ahead and investigate. It usually involves a blood test. If you have two parents that have it, the chances are you have at least one marker for that. Some great sources of folate, once again, the green foods, the legumes, asparagus, and just getting a fresh diet. I want to mention one thing, supplement, which I've been really reading a lot about, what a fantastic 1-2 punch it has, is blue-green algae for the astaxanthin. So you've got vitamin A, you have one of the major wonderful antioxidants, and you have the chlorophyll. So you've got the green, you've got the vitamin A, it's really a power-packed supplement. So any of those green seafoods are great sources for you to be taking as well. So as we transition into Stephanie, she's going to be doing some acupressure stuff, and I wanted to just share with the group some research that I've been doing in an area of medicine that's called affective immunology. Affective as in emotional. As you may know, I'm a fan of Candace Pert's work, and she talked about how our neurotransmitters actually dock to immune cells. So there is a feedback that's happening between our immune system and our emotions. It goes both ways. The immune system actually will generate certain things that trigger neurotransmitters to happen, and neurotransmitters communicate with our immune system and let us know things. So that's just one aspect of this whole new branch of medicine called affective immunology. And as I was looking at some of the work that scientists that are in that field are generating, there is a really amazing small study that was done, but the results were really significant. They explored how massage or touch affects our production of white blood cells. And what they found was they took two groups. The control group just relaxed and had no massage, and the active group received a massage, and that group had a 70% boost in their white blood cells compared to the group that was simply relaxing. So the group that was relaxing actually had a bit of a boost, but it was nowhere near as much as the group that received active touch. So this type of research is really important because, you know, it really helps us see that our immune system is super complex. It is literally responding to everything in our environment. The whole idea that there's only one solution or one thing that needs to come in the form of a vaccine to save humanity it's really not the whole picture. So I'm sharing all this information because I'm trying to fill out the perspective on all of the things that go into making us successful, you know, that help us be successful and thrive in any sort of environment. We have all of these tools at our disposal. They're all backed up by science and studies. So I think that's the really good news. And that's it.
Yes, I totally agree. To recap that, our whole point of offering these educational and empowering tools is to empower all of you to understand that you have your wellness in your own hands. You're in control of it. And it is affected by our emotions, how we allow ourselves to think thoughts that will create emotions of love and gratitude. All of this is measured in Western science, as you just said. It does help to boost our immunity. The lab tests are very accessible too for micronutrient deficiencies, even outside of going to your doctor's office, especially right now with the everlywell.com labs. You can get tests to find out if you're anemic. There are also lab kit tests that I use in my practice and send to patients. We can test your neurotransmitter levels and your hormones, because our neurotransmitters affect our hormones, and our hormones drive our function in our entire body.
Renee, I'm going to quickly share my screen because I have one graphic that I think is a great summary of what you just said.
Right.
Let's see here if I can get this up. Hang on a sec.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and
this is so perfect. Yes.
Share this here. So this is a view here of how the different hormones affect different neurotransmitters in the body. You can see that stressful tasks raise your cortisol and your IL-6. You may recognize, if anybody's been doing a little medical research out there, that all these things are involved in cytokine storm, the dreaded cytokine storm that leads to people crashing with this virus, from what we understand. Stress raises that. Optimism lowers it. Pessimism increases inflammation and all of those other markers. Trauma, raises your inflammation markers, CRP. So this is important to know that scientists are aware of this. We have decades of research around this. And it's very important to recognize that it's a real thing. So that's why I shared that.
Stress management is absolutely the foundation of our health. It's absolutely the foundation of our health. And so practices like this self-massage, acupressure that Stephanie will lead us through, the practices of yoga I can share, the practices of meditation that Terry will share with us. When we manage our stress, we will be healthier. We will reduce the inflammation that is the root cause of all of the diseases that kill us. And then when we look at what Tiari has shared with us today, with this information Dr. Tiari has shared, we can help ourselves with what we put inside of our bodies, the food that we eat, and the way we manage our stress is absolutely fundamental to our health long-term in our life. Those are the two most empowering places that we can focus on. We can focus on what we can control. We can control what goes in our mouth, and we can control what we do when we feel stressed. We can do some of these acupressure points Stephanie's going to share us now. We can do a meditation Terry's going to share with us. We can do a little bit of yoga and breathing techniques, right? We can control what we eat and how we behave in response to stress and be healthy. So please, Stephanie, go ahead, take the floor. So what are the acupressure points you want to share with us today to help us de-stress and manage this stress?
Sure. First of all, I want to say how grateful I am to be surrounded by such amazing, smart thought leaders and health leaders, and Oasis Palisades Retreat Collective truly is feeling my cup overflowing. My mentor yesterday, Greg Reed, said collaboration over competition. So it's all about collaborating and sharing our gifts And doesn't matter if there's 10 acupuncturists in the room and 10 massage therapists, we all have gifts to share. And so I'm just so grateful to have all of you all on my team, or I'm on your team. We're in this team together.
Well, you host all of us. You started it at Oasis with your wellness nights. So thank you for bringing us together as a team. You started
and
it.
the other thing he said yesterday was collaborate. Wait, what is it? Collaborate. Wait, let me look really quick because it was great.
Yeah, this is fantastic. We're so much stronger together. I had looked up some research too. We become a super brain. Our brain functions at higher levels when we
work your strengths and collaborate your weaknesses. So work your strengths and collaborate your weaknesses. So I am so grateful to have you all to strengthen what I know and love, and to learn from you guys, and vice versa. You know, we're all in this together. So last week I was doing some points. So we were doing some self massage, and then I got focused on doing some points. And I just want to do a correction because this is kidney 27. And last week I was saying right here, this is CV17, which is at the nipple line. They're all so important. So I know I've done the head one before, but the very top of your head is a great place to just start and breathe. And then in the back of your head, in the center, and that's just a great place to start, or even just taking a few deep breaths with our hands over our forehead and just holding the back. I know my applied kinesiologist, when he's doing treatments, like he'll do a session and then he'll just hold here so that your body can what's the word, like, it's not congruent, but it's like, you know, your body can receive,
integrate,
assimilate.
Yeah. So he does this treatment and then he'll come together. And he is Dr. Kimball Moyes. I've always wanted you all to meet him. He's a applied kinesiologist and a teacher of acupressure, but he's my go-to person, one of my go-to people as well. But he has said so much that just holding here can just calm you down instantly. We as people, we intuitively do things, you know, already. Like if you have a headache, you do that. If your heart's hurting you, you know, if you feel stressed, you know, we do things intuitively. And I loved what you were saying, Tiari, how it all ties in, you know. Just correction. So CV17, which is an amazing point for the lungs and something we should do every day. Also kidney 27, and the harder you press, I guess the better, something I heard. It just gets it stimulated. It's just a great immune system point. And then you can also tap it, tapping here just to stimulate the immune system, the thymus gland. And then everyone knows large intestine 4, which is the great point that people do for headaches. So you just, I always find it so that the thumb, the crease you got there, you just take your thumb and you go inwards towards. So you see where you have that crease there, and you go to the very end of that crease and you just push inwards, and that is large intestine 4. And right now mine is tender, but that's a great point for inflammation and pain and headaches. I'm not sure all the other things, but probably so many things. One of the points that the reason I got on the ground is because I wanted to share, which we've shared before, about our hands and our feet, reflexology. So we've got our hands and our feet, and our ears are the maps to the whole body. And so by just massaging your ears, surprisingly, and massaging your hands, especially your fingers, and massaging your feet, you are stimulating all of the organs in your body. So even at the balls of your feet. One of my favorite points that I do with all of my clients is, let's find it here, liver 3, LV3. I was told, and the reason I like to do it, and I did it, I had chronic back pain, and one of the reasons I liked this point here is because I was told that this is your body's natural pain. Like when you massage here, it's like your body's natural morphine, and maybe you all can explain how that works. But I was told that this is your body's own natural morphine. And so you just, between the big toe and the other toe, you just go up in the webbing there to the top where it kind of ends in the webbing, and that's really a tender point, and that's a great point if you have pain and inflammation, and I'm sure it's also good for your immune system. And then if you take the other side, the little toe in between those, and if you do those points together, that's just a great for pain. Do you guys want to emphasize about that?
Yes, in general, when the translations happen from Chinese into English, it's actually an incomplete translation to call these channels the liver channel or the gallbladder channel, which the ones between the first and second toe, that is liver 3.
Yeah.
Then the one between the 5th and 4th toe is GB41. So when we had talked last week, when we are in our stress, fight, or flight response, we clench our feet and our hands, we scrunch our face, we clench the
she's talking, why don't we, if we can, be massaging our hands or our feet?
Yes. When we release our hands with large intestine 4 that she showed us, and it only takes 10 seconds of pressure to activate a point. When we release our feet with liver 3 and GB41, we release the stress response, the fight or flight stress response. We're turning it off throughout our whole body. So that is increasing our relaxation of all of our tense muscles throughout our whole body. It's promoting flow of blood and body fluids, promoting oxygen flow within our body, and it's taking us from fight or flight into rest, digest, repair, parasympathetic nervous system response. So it flips our switch. It turns on our immune system, turns on our digestion. So yes, it will alleviate pain, because pain is like a 10-car pileup on the 405 freeway of our own body. And we open everything up again.
Right. Okay. Another one of my favorite points is stomach 36. And why that is because when I was studying massage, I was told that this is the point, the most commonly used point in China for longevity. So that's what and plus it's stomach 36, which is on the stomach meridian, so it helps with all the stomach issues, but it's also good for the immune system. All of these points, or most of the points, they are good for the immune system. So how I find this point, and maybe it's like find the bottom of the kneecap and go 4 fingers down, and then go on the, what is this, the shin bone or whatever, or how would you explain to find that stomach 36?
So we have a bone going down the center of our leg, so we find that bone, and then it's 1 finger breadth to the lateral side of that bone is where we find it, and then usually be tender.
Yeah, definitely.
And Stephanie, I'll just say one thing which is important, and I used to get very hung up as a student. I would get very hung up as, we were required to be extremely precise about these points.
With needles, especially, right?
With needles, when we were, learning them, we had to take these tiny little stickers and put it exactly the right spot. But what I want to say for people at home is that, as we know, it's really touch itself gets you a long part of the way there. So, and the closer you can get you know, obviously you're going to be targeting your response to certain nerves and things that are running in these particular spots, but don't get too hung up as a, you know, person at home watching this on feeling like, oh, if I didn't get exactly the right point, then I'm not getting the benefit.
Right.
Yes, there's actually Hilton's law, the same nerves that innervate our deeper tissues of muscles and bones innervate the surface of the skin. You just need to get in the zone.
Get in the, just in the ballpark.
Just in the ballpark will get you results.
Great. All right. So the next point that has a special place in my heart is spleen 6. So we all have our ankle bone on the inner part. So we just go find our ankle bone, wherever that is, and you measure 3 fingers, and we have the along the back of the tibia. So go find the ankle bone, measure 3 fingers, and then what I realize, like if you're doing a guy who's bigger, you always want, as a therapist, you want to imagine using their own fingers. So if it's a big person, then you maybe go a little higher because it would be measured by their fingers what it would be. And then if it's a littler person, maybe. But this point is a great point. And why it hits home is because a long time ago when I was studying massage acupressure, this point, whenever I would push on it, it would leave an indentation, and it kind of freaked me out every time. And so I asked my teacher, you know, this point is good for many things. It's and you want to always do both sides. So, you know, the stomach point, both sides, and all your points, you know, lung 4, both sides. But even now, it's leaving like a little indentation. So this is helps with relieving immune weakness, restoring vitality, and also helps in stress reduction and gynecological problems like PMS, irregular menstruation, reduces lower back and knee pain, insomnia, and dizziness. So one point, like these all points can treat hundreds of different things. So what I was told with this point was, do you worry a lot? And maybe I have a tendency to worry a lot. So my teacher told me, like, that's a point. And the reason possibly for the indentation is maybe you got a little bit too much worry going on in your body. I know it's other things, and sometimes indentation can mean fluid in the body or whatever, but I always stuck with me, and I always massage this point on all my clients. And I find that in most of them, especially people who are like me, tend to worry. It's a very tender point. And for me, it's pretty tender right now, and indenting and red. So I don't know if y'all want to kind of.
Oh, yes. So it's one of my favorites too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's red.
Yeah, because again, when we go back to the fundamental principle that when we worry and overthink, we're stressed and we're tense. So none of those body fluids can move out. No new blood and nutrients can come in, and things are all jammed up. So that's why you'll get the indentation, because things are stuck in an area because we're too tense for anything to move, because we're overthinking.
So do the other side, make sure to do the other side. Yeah.
And lymphatic, you know, body scrubbing or lymphatic massage is good, really good if people find themselves with a lot of areas
really
of the body where there's
and that really leads into what I wanted to share today. I'd like to do a hybrid of yoga and Qigong, because the tapping of the Qigong is the pressure, like Stephanie's acupressure on a bigger area to drive the inflammatory fluids out.
Let me share one more thing, and then I'll ask you ladies to explain. So it's so funny. When I grew up in Venice, and I grew up in Venice Beach. I was a disco roller skater. And you know how they have all the healers on Venice Beach? So way back when, even before I was interested in massage, I was getting some wisdom from a wise lady healer at Venice Beach. And she had told me that one of the most important points was like somewhere on your hand. I didn't know when, because it was just a memory I had, but from her back so many years ago, but there was something so important about these somewhere in here. And so in doing research for, Kimball was actually teaching a shiatsu class at my office at Oasis Palisades. And he had said, I'm not sure if it's large intestine 11, the crooked pond, but stimulating here, it relieves the immune system as well. But I remember this old wise healer woman told me the importance of massaging here on the arm, and it definitely is tender. But so just so our audience will know, and I know we're limited for time, I forget what it's called, but Kimball had said there's 6 or 7 points that if people would just do every day, they can get everything. I know stomach 36 is 1. There's a point here that's 1.
Large intestine 11 is at the elbow. These are also 5 points.
Oh yeah,
Miriam
large intestine
Lee's
11.
master points.
Yeah, so
book.
let's tell them, you guys tell them so you could do it faster, the 5 points that they could do every day just to cover it all.
Well, you covered all of them. So it's the liver 3 between the first and second toe.
Okay.
And these are
Liver
the
3.
Miriam Lee 5 master points in her book, Insights for a Senior Acupuncturist.
Okay.
It's large intestine 4.
Okay.
It's large intestine 11, which is if you bend your arm and you see the end of the elbow crease, that's large intestine 11. And then you did stomach 36, which is 4 fingers down from the kneecap, 1 finger breadth away from that bone. So stomach 36. And then you did it again,
4.
The spleen 6, which is 3
Oh my
fingers
God, so that's the 5. Okay.
Yeah,
These
are the 5 master points from Miriam Lee. She's the reason why we have acupuncture licenses at all. She was the first acupuncturist here in California. She became a researcher at Berkeley after she was arrested for practicing medicine without a license because she had thousands of patients coming to her. She created community acupuncture and created the licensure and regulation of acupuncture in the United States. And from her work with thousands of patients and research at Berkeley University, she published her book, Insights of a Senior Acupuncturist, with these 5 points. Liver 3.
Isn't that great? So
large intestine 4, large intestine 11, spleen 6, stomach 36.
Yeah. Yay. So those are 5 points that people can do. And isn't that crazy how I remembered in my mind, like way back as a 17, 18-year-old kid, disco roller skating down at Venice Beach, that some wise woman told me that there's something that's very important. You got to always massage in here. Very, very good. And then
it's what you said about the lung 1 point last week, because the large intestine and the lungs, it's how we release our emotions. Right? So we just talked about how emotion, right, creates a stress response, creates inflammation, or creates our immunity and wellness. So if we hang on to those emotions and we don't get them out of our body, right, by releasing them physically, we can become sick.
So I challenge our listening audience. Yay, I'm so excited we have a listening audience. Woo-hoo. Oasis Palisades Retreat Collective at your service. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of what we're sharing and go and do it and try it. And this is how we can not have to have the vaccine or a vaccine, as Tiari was saying. We have all these amazing tools, as Terry will show, and then you're going to show with your yoga. We have all these tools inside ourselves.
Yeah, we don't have to be afraid that we're waiting for a vaccine. We can help ourselves by promoting our wellness right now, each day, with how we live. So we can take control right now with these tools that we have. You can do in your home, you can do in your car, you can do them anywhere, right? We have to get more of these greens and chlorophyll and iron in our bodies, right? and do this acupressure and I'm going to start with the lymphatic system is a one-way freeway with pressure activation. So we want to drive out any of the waste products from our cells and inflammatory fluids with simple tapping. Again, like with the acupressure, Dr. Tiari said, there's no wrong way to do this. We just need to do any pattern to make sure we don't miss any spots, right? So just think about, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, to do some tapping, especially after we've been sitting or standing for a long time and we've created that traffic jam, 10-car pile up on our inner 405 freeway, right? If we've been tense or stressed, we want to open our body back up, and it can be as simple as doing this kind of tapping. And we can use our little fingertips to do a light tapping on our head too, and our face as well. What's fun is that when we do, I had shared some facial acupuncture massage points, you know, we can see the benefit of this kind of tapping on our face with facial rejuvenation, reducing fine lines and wrinkles and having a nicer glow too. So same idea, when we take care of ourselves, we can see an improvement in our skin tone, in the actual muscle tone, in the color of our skin, and the texture of our skin. And so we just want to make sure that we do our whole body. So I'm gonna stand up.
I was going to say, when you do the kidney tapping,
yeah,
on the back, that is a great morning thing to do, especially if you're someone who has adrenal fatigue, or you have some kidney compromise, you're dealing with hypertension. The kidneys, just literally physically tapping them will stimulate that gland to kind of wake up and begin, you know, doing whatever it can do. And it's going to stimulate a lot of circulation there. So that is actually a big energy boost.
With your
Sorry, you are responsible for my husband doing that every morning. I hear, I'm feeling bad, but before he goes for his bike ride, I don't know where he's hitting, and I'll have to remind him to hit everywhere.
I'm so happy to hear that.
So we just follow all of our inner organs, everywhere we can reach with our fist. And this is where our kidneys are located, on our back, right around the edge of where the bottom of our ribs are in the back. And again, I had mentioned earlier with Hilton's Law, we just need to get in the ballpark. So the same nerves that innervate this whole area of our skin also innervate the deeper tissues, muscles, bones, and organs. So we just need to get into
and the spleen, right? The spleen is so important.
Yes, the spleen is actually what manufactures our blood, and our liver is actually what is cleansing our blood, right? And same with our kidneys working together with our liver. Again, we have to clear out of our body any of that dirt, any of the chemicals from the environment, from the air, from cleaning products, from preservatives in food, from pesticides. Everything needs to get moved out. Plus the natural, normal waste products from the chemical reactions in our cells. So this is just 5 minutes of tapping. Just think about it. Did you tap today just for 5 minutes?
Did you tap
simple.
today?
Just make sure I spend a little bit more time around the belly button and around the breast, under the arms, the inguinal
where we have
area.
lymph nodes.
These are all places that have collections of lymph nodes, also around the knees. Because the only way that also underneath the ears, I'll move closer. This is really important for all of the sinus congestion, any allergies, what have you. Everything will drain and move out of our head, face, and sinuses through this lymph node area underneath our earlobes. So we can do stroking like I'm doing. We can do tapping. It's not about how much pressure. We don't have to beat ourselves up.
Right. This is also a very good place if you are looking to lower blood pressure.
Yes.
There is what's called a baroreceptor on the blood vessels that run down the side of the face here. So these tapping and these have very important results for ourselves physiologically. So we can't underestimate it.
And it's this simple, like if you're trapped in traffic and you're stressed out and you're late and you're playing beat the clock and your blood pressure is rising and you're over it and really aggravated, I do this in my car. I can stroke these points, calm myself down when I have the knots in my shoulders and there's the parking lot on the freeway. I can take it down a few notches, which is what Terry's going to do with us here, because that's the other wonderful tool that she is bringing to the table with us, is this kind of mindfulness, checking in with ourselves. How are we doing and how can we help ourselves? And then she has some wonderful meditations that she offers in mindfulness training for teens, for kids, for parents. And she had shared with me some flyers. Terry, just tell me when you want me to share those flyer pictures, and then we'll give the floor to you, Terry. Allen, please tell us about your wonderful tools of mindfulness and meditation.
Hi, thanks, Donning. Yeah, actually, taking on the points, what we do with children and teenagers, which also adults do, you might know about it, but it's really easy for them to play with their hands. So we have, I have a children's dialogue of a hand, and on the hand, each finger represents an emotion. So if a child is worried in school, they just hold and breathe, and they can hold that for 3 minutes or something. And this is worry. This represents worry. This represents fear. This represents anger. This represents sadness. And this represents your infinite self. So by holding one of these fingers or just massaging them, you're meant to hold them for at least 3 or 4 minutes. If you're an adult, about 5, or you can hang a few. And so if someone feels nauseous or anxious, they might be feeling very worried. So the child would hold these hands. So we give these out, and you can share the workshop thing in a minute, but when we're doing workshops with the children and teenagers, it's good for them to use these emotions related to their hands. I don't know if you ladies had heard that before, but yeah, it's worry, fear, anger, sadness, and your infinite self. So whatever you're feeling, that child would instantly go and hold that area.
It's interesting because there are, different organ systems, right, in Chinese medicine associated with each of these fingers, and there are correlations with what you just said. So,
well, it's easier for the children. You know what I mean? It's just easier, and we give them little hand dialogues, and it's got like the worry face on the hand, and then on the top it would have, the fear, the anger face, and then the sadness. And so it's really interesting. And if you do it on your feet, you do your toes, you cross your hands over, and it's the opposite. So you would start off with, which one was worry, but you have to cross them over. The energy crosses over. But if you massage your toes, you'll feel which one hurts and which one doesn't. So again, we'll release an emotion of the child, you'll know. Or even on the fingers, if you massage someone's fingers and one is more sensitive than the other and you press down on it, I've known people cry and release and do different things. So it's a good tool for them to use. So we teach that in our class. You can share the screen, Andrea. That would be fantastic if you don't mind.
Yeah, I love that you're sharing these tools, because for all of us to build this kind of awareness.
Well, I think especially with children and teenagers at this moment in time, I think it's very important for parents, if they can give a gift to their child, it's them to connect to themselves, that inner peace, to learn tools, how they can center themselves, calm themselves down, know emotionally where they're at. So we are running for 4 weeks, once a week, children and teenagers. So children are 6 to 9. It starts on the 11th of May. So it'll be once a week. They will be recorded. People can purchase them afterwards. And we've come up with a whole program. So they will be getting books to use as tools. They will be downloading meditations. for the children to keep, and lots of handouts. So, and each week we can, we're teaching children different tools about mindfulness, but meditation, but emotional awareness, and what tools they can bring in when it's needed, when they need to navigate easily through life. And
this is the most important teaching that we can offer
in life at a young age. Give it them I wish I'd had it all at a young age. I didn't.
Me too.
We played more in nature, which probably helped us to balance more, because we were in nature, and I'm a big believer of, like, we go out every day in nature for a walk, me and my son, for like an hour or sometimes more, and just to be outside and just connect and be very mindful to everything, look at the birds and the trees, and just the energy is just always peaceful and calming and harmonious, and just you just feel so much better when you come inside. And also from a vitamin point of view, you're getting your vitamin D.
Well, there's incredible research studies on the power of nature that's half a hertz frequency. And when we're in the presence of nature, it makes our own being, our own nervous system, also that same ideal half a hertz healing frequency that turns on our parasympathetic rest, digest, repair. And in tribal cultures that were not exposed to Western culture, that have been studied, they were walking barefoot, making direct contact with the earth, and they did not have our modern diseases.
We sit on our grass every day for 15 minutes to cleanse the energy out of your body and the toxins from out the bottom of your feet.
And it's clinically researched, evidence-based science that creates a healing effect inside of our body that is measurable from that contact with nature and the earth. When these ancient tribes that weren't exposed to Western culture started wearing shoes with rubber soles and stopped their contact with the earth, that's when they got heart disease and things like diabetes that they never had for thousands of years. This is very, very real. Not just vitamin D from sunshine, but direct contact with the earth, like Terry's saying, with the feet on the grass, on the dirt, on the sand. If you want to be healthy long term, you're going to get outside. You're so right, Terry.
So over these 4 weeks, we'll be giving in this program a set of tools for the parents and the children to take away, and the teenagers.
Yeah, this other flyer is for the teens as well. So there's 2 programs, right? So this Monday one for ages 6 to 9, starting on the 11th.
Yeah, and then the teenagers start the same day. They just run after that class.
Yeah, which I should have that too. So it's same on Mondays too for the teens then.
The teenagers are also Monday. They're at a different, just after that. So it runs from 4 o'clock. And we do different modalities and teachings for them to use and implement in their life. And so, yeah, I think it's a wonderful gift for a parent to give to a child or a teenager at this time. And especially to go away with books and meditations and handouts. So, yeah, that would be great for you to share. That would be wonderful. And also, sharing a lot with children lately, because I do a lot with children, but also with parents. I do see a lot of parents, and it's interesting at this time that people have a lot of different emotions that are coming up, and it is dealing back with their inner child, actually. So the people that I've seen for the last, well, it's always ongoing, but especially the last few months speaking to them, it's when I've been doing my healing sessions with them, or the inner child healing sessions, it's the awareness has come up and the emotions have come up related to something that's happened to them when they were young. And so it's enabling them to, with my work, I help them to identify it and help them to come to peace with it and release it. Because if you don't, it forms as a pattern in our life. It becomes your perception. You then bring it into the reality of your life, and then it can form into an emotion, which then forms into a sickness, as you all know. So that's another side that I've been working on and noticing, which has been coming up for, because I don't want people to think I just do children. I don't. I do adults as well, and parents.
Well, it's the whole family, because the parent too, what I love, it's never too late to learn this emotional awareness and to learn tools to help us process our emotions. It's never too late. And if we can do it together, right? Together as a family.
100%, it's a communication tool that you use as a family. And just to notice, it's always good for the parents to know as much as possible where they're at, where they're coming from, you know, and to just get back to your inner self and your own inner being, not the conditions of what your parents, God bless them, or any other outside circumstances have imprinted onto us. So it's about taking that person back to their own personal power.
You know, what's interesting is what's going on now, this virus and all the emotions it can bring up, and the anxiety and fear it can have for you to see your own children if they don't live with you, you know, or, you know, your grandchildren, or, you know, it's just, it's a crazy time right now, what's going on. And you don't want to be afraid to see your family, you know, you want to be there to support your family. And it's crazy. It's
But I think now, like Stephanie, like you're saying, you know, we're offering all these tools. So many people have so many tools. We have so many tools to strengthen our minds and our body and our immune system. And I think just by us being apart from different people, like my mother and my brother live in different countries, it just strengthens the appreciation that we have in our life and the people that we have around us and what we have around us. And I think that's the big lesson. And like someone said the other day, the Amazon at the moment is trying to get healed because last year the Amazon burns, and the Amazon is the lungs of the planet, and this virus attacks the lungs. So it's a whole collectiveness. It just isn't a separate thing. This is a whole
Well, that's the point, is that in all of our lives throughout history, of all of the stories shared of the human experience, when we are faced with these kinds of challenges, the whole point of them is to help us grow. They're actually for our highest good and benefit, because they're calling us to grow, to become more self-aware, to embrace tools that we need. I know for myself, with my chronic pain from my car accident in 1994, I've been forced by great suffering to dive into these tools.
Yeah, you're right. The most suffering
changed my life. And this COVID-19, same idea. So if we can't be in person with our family, how can we get creative about how to connect anyway? Because nothing can stop the love, right, from passing thousands of miles away. We have friends and family in other countries too. I do too. Nothing can stop us from connecting.
No, we're all still connecting, but also I think, you know, which will lead into a bit of meditation, because I know we're getting on with the time, but
yeah,
you know, in peace, in silence, do we hear our inner calling? And I think we're all meant to be sitting quiet to hear our gifts and our talents and what Mother Earth is calling us forth for us to do. Which is,
how can we be better from this?
Mother Earth, you know, which is very important at this time. So we're just going to do a simple exercise. So I always tell anyone to just get relaxed in any which way that you can. It doesn't matter whether you're lying or sitting. Just, you know, taking this time to just connect to yourself is very important. Every morning is the main time for you to meditate. Actually, the morning time is the time to connect to yourself, to your emotions. It sets your whole tone for your day. And if you wake up and it's not balanced, or you've not aligned yourself as best you can, then your day will take on a momentum of itself. So just take this moment to just relax your jaw and your shoulders, because we put a lot of tension on our jaw and our shoulders. And take your mind to your breathing as you're doing this. Breathe in through your nose and down through your mouth. And just start to relax your arms. You breathe into your chest, relaxing your chest area. Relax the tops your hips and the tops of your legs, all the way down to your feet. As you just take this moment, you might want to put your hand onto your heart and just listen to your inner voice for this moment in time. Connect to yourself. How are you feeling today? What energy am I putting out into the universe? And with that hand on your heart, you can affirm, I am peaceful. I am love. I am connected to all the beauty that's around me. I am grateful. I am open to receive more abundance in my life than ever before. I am at one with the divine and all that there is. As you sit with that emotion in your heart and just feel the energy all around you and within. As you keep a nice deep rhythm with your breathing. As you can now see yourself walking in a green field. With that sun beaming down and the blue sky. You're just connecting to all the beautiful nature around you. Allowing Mother Earth to flow through you with her balance, her tranquility, and her oneness. And you hear her calling as you feel each blade of grass and soil beneath your feet. You notice how your mind and body feels surrounded in this Mother Nature. And just sit with that vision in your mind just for the next few moments. Just calming your mind and your body and allowing any thoughts to just pass through you as you're bathing in that beautiful sunlight. As you know that you are always spiritually aligned from within. And you can ask yourself, what gifts do I need to bring forth today? As we see the abundance of nature all around us. And if we can see that in our inner eye, this is the abundance and the beauty of Mother Earth living inside of us. You're just projecting it straight back out. There is nothing to change. You are whole, you are love, and you are full of your light. A beacon of light for you to share with others. And those that we love around us. And we give love and gratitude for all that Mother Earth gives to us every single day. And all she is asking for is for us to treat her with love and respect and gratitude. So we can all live in harmony as one. as we now start this new day, this beautiful new day. Surrounding ourselves with that positive vibrational thoughts and actions and words. And we give thanks for us being here together, sharing our wisdom and knowledge with all that we can. So you now take some nice deep breaths, calmly and evenly. As you bring your awareness back to yourself and back to the room, feeling much more calmer and balanced and full of awareness of your calling today. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Namaste.
Thank you so much. I feel so blissed out. I love
I
how
know.
Do a few minutes, you don't have to do a long time. I mean, I could go on for half an hour, but I mean, you know, I do my meditation on a Friday, which people come around the world joining, which is great, and it goes for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, but you know, it's just that connection and just that mind break. You know, you're taking a brain break and you're just really connecting to yourself. But the first thing in the morning is to connect and to balance yourself and to just be aware of where you're at and what you're putting out. Really, you know, is your starting point for the day, because as they say, it's a fresh starting point every day. And I think that's the main point. If I don't do that first thing in the morning before I jump out of the bed, I don't feel as balanced.
absolutely, and then you can come back to it in just a few minutes throughout the day. When we notice that we've gotten away from that, we can bring ourselves back.
You're training yourself. That's why with the trainings that we do with the children, the teenagers, or any adult, you're training to be aware and think, oh, okay, I've gone off over there now. I need to come back. I need to come back. You know, we're all going to go off. We're all going to be pulled. You've got children. I've got schooling. You know, you've got a lot of things going on.
Yes.
But even though I could hear some banging outside, you've got to push it off. You're here. There's only now. Bring your awareness back to yourself. What are you doing? What are you watching? What are you putting out? Where are you at? Where am I emotionally? It's not judgmental. It's just that you're aware and you just, okay, let me just be present. Let me just see what I've got to do and correct myself.
Yeah, and help reset with the finger holding, like you showed, with the mindfulness kids, with the acupressure.
Yes. You know, if and I get my son to do it, I've taught him to do it, and it's a great tool because it's always your hands. You know?
Yes, we can reach those at any moment, right?
Massage my hands, and when I used to always have a massage, they never used to really massage the hands much. I'm like, the hands. You know, living in Asia, when you had your hair, they used to wash and blow you dry your hair. Somebody been massaging your hands.
Yeah, this is spectacular.
I was like, oh, this is fabulous.
And the nature time, the walk is so important too.
So important to get outside every day. So even if it's half an hour, 50 minutes, it's important. I'm sorry.
And I love your imagery and your wisdom you shared in the meditation. And I wanted to share something I love from Reverend Michael Beckwith that I have kept with me since 2007, I think, from one of his talks at Agape. So when we're walking in nature, he has this really nice prayer. I am reflecting and revealing the peace and the harmony that is God. My life is the life of God, and God is all that there is.
Yeah.
When I'm really stressed out and I take a walk and I repeat that as I walk, and like Terry had suggested, I really look at the tree, I look at the bird, I come back into my awareness, my consciousness, myself, and I take that back. I connect with,
because that's the true
spirit in me.
If you go into the supermarket, it's a completely different energy. It's fearful.
Yes.
If you step in nature, there's no fear. So it's humans' perception. That's what that is.
But we can bring the nature and our connection to that into ourselves and take that into the grocery store that is the stressful environment.
And spread it around, you know.
Yes, be the light, as you had
Always
said.
spread a lot of angels around this.
And I walk repeating that in order to make myself be that, to reflect that in an uncomfortable environment.
Yes.
Post office, grocery store.
You don't get it in nature. You don't get it outside. When we were walking at the weekend, we went and walked down the beach somewhere, and then, you know, you just don't get that in the nature at all. Any fear.
You guys reminded me of a quote that I have. I don't know. We all should start making up our own quotes, but I have a long, Greg Reed, my mentor, said, gee, that's a long quote. But if you come from a pure heart filled with love and you just add a smile, well, actually, if you come from a pure heart filled with love and you just want the best for everybody in the world, no matter what. So if you come from a pure heart filled with love and you just want the best for everybody in the world, no matter who they are, no matter what they've done, and you add a smile, that truly is coming from the highest vibration.
Absolutely. Unconditional love.
Stephanie Mustafsky Kanan, quote.
Because we can shift ourselves to that beautiful place of pure unconditional love. And
just bringing that point back all the time, you know, what are you doing, where are you at? And I think teaching children that at a very young age and their awareness and it's very powerful.
And how their awareness of themselves changes their state and how that affects everyone around us. I'll just do the Heart Math Institute plug one more time, because again, it's been measured with science. Our emotions and emotion of gratitude and the magnetic field around our heart is 60 times greater than the one around our brain.
Yeah.
Everyone can feel us within 60 to 100 feet.
Correct.
Wherever we go. And we're influencing them by how we show up.
Yeah.
One person told me yesterday, oh, that person is beyond help. You know, like I know. So I come from a different philosophy that, you know, it doesn't matter if somebody's, you know, addicted or drunk, you know, with alcohol or drugs. You can't give up on somebody. You can't, you know.
Well, what I love too, we don't even have to be with them.
I just don't think we should be judging anybody.
We can send them.
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't judge anybody. Secondly, we should hold them in light and love. And judgment is a separation of love. And so, you know, allowing love to flow through. So if they're seeing that person as broken, there's something broken within themselves. So I would actually pass it back to them. Sorry.
Right.
It's the truth. We all have something in our mind that we've all gone through things. We're all, no one's, you know, separate from not doing something.
And that is the power of prayer. Because what you said, Stephanie, when we hold that unconditional love for everyone, we can send it to anyone, even if we're not in their presence.
Send them angels and ask God to flow through you, or send them angels, or, you know, that's, if somebody else sees somebody as broken, then it's something reflected in yourself. It may not be the same thing, but there is, because everyone's got something going on in a different level or form. Otherwise, we wouldn't be down here.
And I know God would never, 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 never give up on any of us. You know, what is that saying where he would leave the 1,000 to go and get that one?
Yes. The 99.
And it's not going off track here, but it's not easy when you come down here. You know, they should give us a rule book. You know, at the moment, we've collected our tools as we've gone along, but it's, you know, you've got to give yourself a lot of credit and a lot of love and a lot of gratitude of where you've got, and how many, actually giving yourself love and gratitude for yourself every day is what I think. Even I don't do that enough, and I think a lot of people need to do that more. And to teach, once your child sees you doing that, they're like a completely different person. But if a parent is beating themselves up, and what does that teach your child, really? You know. So again,
we have to self-care, and that's what we're teaching: self-care, self-love. You can't help anybody else if you
caring for one another. We're not all separate, we're all one. That's why we're all in this situation on the planet at the minute. We're all in it together, we're not separate.
Well, the thing
That's
of it is, when
interesting.
we show up for ourselves, right, and we put that compassion and forgiveness and healing in us, then we can share it, right?
It releases us, and then it releases any sickness that falls in the body.
We have something to give then.
Yeah.
Share.
So let's end on that note,
Yeah.
that we are being the light so that other people can shine.
Yes.
We are being the light so other people can shine and take care of themselves, so that they can also in there take care of their loved ones, and share all of these tools, and add to every week we're giving people stuff that they can add to their soul, mind, body, and then I say business, because it all is one.
Yeah, business
So
is an expression of that. Yeah. In a
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, this has been great, guys. I love you with all of my heart. It
Thank
overflows
you.
with joy.
Back to
Master,
you.
my hashtag that I created when Daisy was sick and passing is to master joy and jubilee. That was a hashtag I created.
Aw.
Master joy and jubilee.
Can I say something, you guys? I'm sitting in this octagonal room, and I have all these windows here. And just in this last moment, there is a hummingbird flying in every pane of every window here. I don't know if you can see these windows here.
Oh, wow.
And it was sitting there hovering and hovering and hovering until Stephanie finished, and then it flew away.
Because that is a very spiritual being.
Yes.
Bird is a very high form of spirituality, and I
really
love them.
Just flying, you know, right in front,
So
just in full display. It was really special.
Wow.
That's why I was looking off in that direction.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Tiari.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And our first retreat outside of Oasis Palisades is going to be at Tiari's Retreat Center in Ojai, the Love Shack. The Love Shack, baby. The Love Shack.
It looks
so we are.
Yeah, we might not come back.
Yeah, we won't want to leave her wonderful sanctuary love center in Ojai.
I know. We'll have to.
No, you're so blessed, and we're so blessed to have you.
Thank you. We're an amplifying collective, so that's a really special thing.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week.
Mwah.
Thank you.
We will see
Namaste.
you next
Amen. Hallelujah. I love you guys.
Love you too. Bye-bye.